Ever since I was a young and I was into rapping 20 years later and I'm still here yapping. Guess I got so much to say, so I'm trying to educate all of us. I hope together we can elevate. Time flies and our life is moving so fast. What's the forecast? Good vibes to be broadcast. So come and chill with me as we let the bad vibes blow past. This is Shout Out Podcast.
Let's go. Welcome to another episode of the Shout Out Podcast. Before we start, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been supporting this podcast. You know, everyone who's liked, shared, commented, subscribed. We appreciate it, and yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that. Today's guest is someone who's unique and someone who I feel like we need more of his kind in our society. He's someone who's chased after his dreams, pursued his passion, and ventured into something which was not common at that time, or even maybe the first of its kind. You know, entering into uncharted territory, and that's the kind of people I admire and respect. And thank you for joining us on the podcast, Khriemelie, or Meme as you're more fondly known. Just want to start off with I asked this to all the other guests also, because this pandemic is something that's happened to us, and it's like the first time this ever happened to us. It's most probably going to be the only time this happened in our lifetime. So what have you taken away from this pandemic? What have you learned? Tell us about your experience during this past 1.5 years.
It might be a very selfish perspective, but I've personally had a wonderful time. I think it's been great for me, this pandemic, not only work-wise but also personally for me. It's given me a lot of time to grow, and as I say, it's very selfish for me because I'm sure a lot of people are going through difficult and tough times. But the time I've gotten to spend more time with myself, get more comfortable with myself, and also to concentrate a lot more on work has been beautiful. I've grown the most I've ever in this last 2 years.
I think I've heard a lot of people say that also, actually, about how this time they've had to personal growth and use it to introspect, or because these are very it's a weird time for everyone also, actually. And you've mentioned that a lot of people are struggling also. How about you and your business during this time? How has that fared, and how have you navigated that?
So I'm in fitness, the field of fitness. Right. So also what came across during the lockdown is a lot of people had free time, and a lot of people use that free time to train, to get fitter. So as a medium, as people who instruct, who help people get fitter, we got in a lot more customers that time. And also it was one of the times we started going to private training, where it's not coming, they don't just come to the gym. We start going to houses, making it more convenient for people. Right? Of course, we followed all SP protocols. We made sure we had masks on, we had our face shield, we kept our distances. But it also made us realize that there is a clientele in Nagaland. We just need to make sure that we make it convenient for them, that we will come to your house. A lot of people get lazy to get out of bed and go to the gym. So we just said,
why not take it there?
We'll just come to your house, we'll wake you up, we'll get you out of bed, and we'll train. So business was good. And also on the what I recently just realized is that on the personal growth front, we spend a lot of time, and I'm in my early 30s, so of course I'm young. We spent a lot of unnecessary time on pleasures, trying to have a good time. But of course with the lockdown, what happened was that was forced out. There was absolutely no waste of time. So we didn't waste our time looking for pleasure, right? We spent our time productively. So that's during the lockdown, it showed me how I waste so much of the time trying to have fun. If that time is put into being productive, you can do so much.
Yeah, that's a great lesson to learn then. I mean, I sort of learned something along the lines of that, not exactly the same, but yeah. It's good if people have been using this disaster to improve themselves or learn new skills. Have you learned any new stuff unrelated to your field?
So I did try picking up a sign language.
Okay, how did that?
YouTube. So I was doing it for a while. Then it turns out there's no one sign language. Sign languages are like multiple different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like different countries have different specific sign languages, and I was shocked that like.
I mean,
me. That's stupid. Like,
how did this start? Like, what got you like fascinated about the sign language enough for you to like want to learn it?
I was on YouTube, and it just came about like this. There's a big society that sign language users. There's a huge society of them, and a lot of our TV shows, a lot of these ignore them, right? So it was just out of fun. So that made me curious. That thinking of that perspective made me curious, but it just made me curious. Like, why not try and learn something new? And I'm very bad with languages, right? So one things, I'm literally tone deaf. I'm horrible, and language is audio. And my memories, everything. I'm more visual. I'm not audio driven. So I find language very difficult. So I just thought also if I can try learning a language that doesn't depend on audio, why not? Yeah.
And how did you fare? Right? Because you said there was like so many different types.
Yeah.
Did you?
So I was learning the American Sign Language. So that's on YouTube. It's the common, most common. Then I came across these Indian channels, and it was slightly different, right? It was slightly different, and then I was like, then I read into it, and then so Indian Sign Language, American Sign Language, Australian Sign Languages. So it's different, and so I saw no point in learning. I thought it would be universal. Wherever, yeah. Another thing, I play violin. Not a lot of people know that. Violin? I play the violin, So I tried picking up on those skills. I was very young when I used to play the violin.
Like, how long did you take it for back then when you were?
5-6 years.
5-6 years. So that's quite a...
My middle school was with violin.
That's like a good enough time for you to actually learn how to play it decently.
Like I said, I'm tone deaf, so I don't get audio. So I would never listen to music. I would read music. I could never listen to it. So I remember I went to I was in an orchestra once in Calcutta. I was there, and then it was in a cathedral. So we were playing, and generally I like my own notes because I write notes on my book. But it was 3 of us using one sheet, right? So on that day, the biggest day, it was someone else's sheet. So I just couldn't follow because the notes were different, right? He had written different notes. So I remember my mother keeps making fun of me because everyone else was going to a downstroke and I was going up. That happened in Calcutta.
There's quite a lot of just recently I've noticed like the music trend in Nagaland, especially with instruments and all. Back then it was just the guitar, obviously, piano, drums. Nowadays we're seeing like hearing of people taking like saxophone lessons, something that's I think that should be encouraged because there's like too much focus is going on just the primary, like the pianos, the guitars, and so I think that's nice that we do have teachers and schools here that are offering those kind of classes.
That's the biggest change, right? I mean, 10-15 years back, how many people would play the saxophone?
Exactly.
Yeah, but now you
won't even hear about it.
So we have teachers now that know how to play it and are willing to teach the saxophone, the trumpet.
Okay, we're just talking about your childhood with your violin. So like, what we do is we ask the guests to always take us back all the way back to your childhood and just rattle off on your childhood experience, where you grew up, how it was, all that.
I grew up in Calcutta. I spent majority of my younger years in Calcutta. Funny, I can speak Bengali. I can speak passing Bengali. Yeah.
Give us a line like.
Ki bol mai Bengali bolte pari like nani ami Bengali. Yeah.
Sort of got the gist of that.
So I Kolkata chilo. I was in Calcutta. I grew up in Calcutta. I went to St. Xaviers, which it's Jesuit school. So all boys, full of priests. So they instilled a lot of good habits in me. Going to a Jesuit school, manners. They were very particular about manners. So our priests were not teachers, but most of our administration, headmaster, prefects were all priests. So they were very particular about manners. You stand up, you greet. So it's even today. Like if I see a priest walking by or a sister, I will stand up and say, "Good morning, father." My sister. It's just something that's been ingrained in me since childhood. Football is big. I'm a huge football fan. Of course, Calcutta. Calcutta is big at football. I really enjoyed Calcutta. I'm very happy that I didn't. My education happened in Calcutta, not in other metropolitans like for Delhi or Bombay. I've also studied in Delhi and Bombay, and I love Cal. I think Calcutta has a special place in my heart.
So how long were you there in Calcutta for? Like you said, you grew up there, but like till.
I would have been there till 10th grade.
Okay, so that's most of your like.
Most of my younger years.
Yeah. How was? I mean, like you said, you learned from being in a Jesuit school, like especially the manners and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people, Nagas, wouldn't have experienced that. I mean, quite a few maybe, but like, can you just share with us some of your how the experience was, just growing up in a Catholic school?
So we would also have catechism classes where an entire period was going into learning the Bible, studying about it. And one of the biggest things is an all boys school. So I also did do a bit of studying in a co-ed school, but I really enjoyed an all boys school. It is much easier. It's much easier. Yeah, there's not so much drama involved. It's where you see what you get with all boys schools. And
yeah,
also,
I spent I spent like just 1 year, but I also was in a all boys school. That was in Chennai. But yeah, it's a very different experience. Yeah.
And it was easy for me because yes, you could, with the all boys, bullying will occur.
Yeah, of course.
I was a little lucky I didn't face that because I grew up with all the guys, right? So I was with them since
from the beginning.
Kindergarten, yeah. So we all,
you're the OGs and all.
Exactly. So this is the new people that I got ragged a bit. Yeah.
How was the diversity of the the students there?
There were barely anyone from the Northeast.
Okay.
Yeah, literally none.
So like majority was all like Bengalis, like local or like
majority of were Bengali. Mixture of people from the Northeast, very few. We also had quite a few Chinese because Calcutta.
Oh yeah. There's a population of them. Yeah.
So a lot of the kids also were Chinese in Xaviers. So in Calcutta, La Martiniere was the school. La Mart's was the school where had the majority of Naga boys coming and studying in Calcutta.
Okay, in Calcutta.
Yeah. Xaviers didn't really have that.
So what is something like I say this, I was in Woodstock, so like that's the best experience for me in my life also, because for me I got the what I took most out of that whole experience was that I got to look at life like from the perspective of people of so many different races, and it's like that's been like that's a part of me now, like the way I look at life or problems or solutions or whatever. What's your biggest takeaway from being in that environment where like a lot of Bengalis were there? So like what do you think rubbed off on you, like the good qualities of them?
It's, not only Bengalis per se, being a Jesuit school, it wasn't a premier, Xavier is one of the premier schools. It wasn't a private school. It wasn't extraordinary prices. The prices were very economical. So we had kids from all stratas of life, and that's one of the beauties of being in Xavier. We all got along from a very young age, right? The financial standing was not important because we grew up like that. Right. So I think that's one of the best things I learned from Xavier's. Like I would play football with like some of the leading economists, and not take names, but some of the leading
their children were
there. And then I would play with like auto rickshaw drivers, kids who would also be there, and we would play football.
That's nice.
And that's how one of the other beauties of growing up in Xavier's like that. Financial standings didn't matter. Yeah,
the status thing wasn't an issue.
Didn't matter at all.
That's nice. So what about during your time there, like because 10th is like you are no longer like such a kid anymore. What started coming into your head, like which direction you wanted to head? Like did you have some embarrassing goals that you want to share with us? Like what were your ambitions? Or football?
Yeah,
you were like serious about that.
I was serious into football.
How good were you?
I got like Mohun Bagan.
Okay.
I got to play for Mohun Bagan. Then
that's big.
Yeah, the Indian scouts also scouted me.
Okay.
So I was decently good, but not.
Now you're being humble. If that's what happened.
No, honestly, I realized I was decently good. But
what did you play? I mean, like what position?
I was forward.
Forward.
I was tiny and I used to run really fast.
Okay, so like that was till 10th. Where did you go after that? Like,
so I was in Woodstock. For a bit.
Woodstock,
Yeah.
bang.
So I was in Woodstock for a semester, 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to get into that. But
I didn't go. For me, I would say I didn't go. When I went to Woodstock, Woodstock was a vacation for me.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I didn't. It was immature for me to not realize that is there for my education. So politely, I was asked to withdraw myself. I got kicked out of
Let's
Woodstock.
keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it like that. Okay.
So because Woodstock, one of the differences I realized between an Indian school, Indian system, and also Woodstock per se, not really a Western system. Woodstock had this concept that the moment you enter high school, you're given a lot more freedom. You're given a lot more, responsibility compared to where you were in middle school or elementary. Because as I was there, I noticed that they were a lot more strict with the middle schoolers. And
Right.
But when it come to high school, they were a little more.
Very
And
lenient, yeah.
it was their way of building an adult, right? How someone should become more responsible. But I came from an Indian system where I was controlled continuously, and then I went
Suddenly,
haywire. I went haywire. Yeah. So I definitely felt bad that I got kicked out, but today when I think back, it was necessary. I went overboard. I went there for a holiday. Yeah.
Okay, so like we don't have to go through each of your schools, but this football dream or passion that you had, how did it end up, coming to an end?
So also after Woodstock, I was in Columbus in Delhi. So I used to play football for Delhi, and then district football also we played over there. And I started meeting how Calcutta, Goa might be the centers for your clubs in India.
Yeah, the powerhouses.
The powerhouses for clubs. But your Indian teams, your state players are mostly Delhi. So all the camps happen over there.
Okay.
So it was playing football over there. I realized that there were other kids who were really, really good, and there were kids younger than me who were superb. Right? And I never had size on my advantage. Right. I was always small. So there were younger kids who were much better, and then it started made me think: wait,
am I good enough?
Am I good enough? And forget now India. Now think internationally, right?
Yeah.
Because if I want to do something,
You don't want to just be in the Indian team.
I want to do well. So that's a little bit of reality struck, and then I realized it's not meant for me. I will never be that good, and hence I stopped following
that dream.
I stopped
So
playing
like
that much time.
it got done by school time only. Like by school you were like okay, and just going along after that, what did you have any? Because like regardless of where you were studying and what you were doing, I just want to know your
my mindset.
Thought process on when it came to like your career and what
of
you
course
wanted to
college, and also as any Naga kid, it's your exams. So I went to college thinking I was going to sit for the exam. Basically. Also my subjects were such pol science and economics. Something I've always enjoyed. Through school and college, I enjoyed economics. So those were my subjects through college. With the idea that I'm going to sit for my
so that college phase was like you were serious about like,
of course not.
So that was just the parental pressure.
So also what happens with the exam, I feel a lot of kids waste time. Right? They don't have goals. They don't have a vision. They don't have a pathway.
The clarity. They don't have that.
But then okay, this is an option. Let me buy time by doing the exam. It's not really.
I get it.
This is being told to do it. Okay, I'll do it. So I feel a lot of kids.
Did you give any of these exams? You didn't. Okay.
So I dropped out of college.
Okay.
Yeah, and hence like to make sure I don't give these exams.
Okay.
Because then if I go through college, then I have to. And I dropped off quietly. I didn't tell anyone. Honestly, by then I was already driven and I was not responsible. It's still immature. Very immature, but I knew I wanted to be in MMA. I wanted this.
So it was from that time. That's where it started.
That's where it started, and I thought I don't want to waste time getting a degree when I'm not.
It's not going to help you with your that.
I'm not doing anything with it.
Yeah. On that, how did that start? I mean, like because back then, Which year was this?
This
Like
would have
in
been
your college years, roughly in the.
2010s, 2009, 2010,
Okay.
yeah, 2010.
So UFC
11.
was of course. Yeah.
Was there, but of course
it that boom like
it is not nothing.
nothing
people-
like what it is
yeah.
right now. So
Even
how
I
did
didn't
your
know about UFC?
yeah? So then how did that start? Like that passion or interest?
Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, as a kid, everyone loves watching it. I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
your son is just the same. When it's on, he's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
jumping on
yeah,
bed.
of course.
So, as a kid, I was jumping on bed watching them. But there was no formal way for me to train. Right? There used to be. I remember where I used to live in Calcutta. There used to be a karate institute nearby. But somehow I never joined. I guess it didn't feel cool enough. I guess. So I didn't do that. When I finished school, I wanted to travel. I wanted to get away by myself, and then, of course, very fortunate. My parents gave me the opportunity. Just told me, you want to do it. You're an adult. You finished school. Go for it. Then I did some research and I realized Thailand has these camps, like Muay Thai camps.
Muay Thai,
where you come, you train, and then. So I went there. I was there. My first stint was for 2 months.
Okay.
So I was in Bangkok, on the outskirts of Bangkok, a place called Phang Pli, I think. So I was Fairtex camp. So I lived there for 2 months and I was training Muay Thai. Then I came back to India, and then when I had to go to college in Bombay, I googled, I searched, and then I found Gym Evolution.
Okay.
Evolution is the gym I was training in Bombay. So as soon as I got to Bombay, I started training over there. And
What were you training there in when you were in that evolution? General
MMA.
martial. Okay, MMA.
yeah.
Okay.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
And what doing Muay Thai in Thailand showed me was also I was good at it.
Okay.
I've always been athletic, so of course martial arts is just athleticism. It's just the next level of athleticism. So when I came down to Bombay and I started training again, I was good at it. And of course people noticed that I was good at it. And who doesn't like being
Yeah,
good
yeah,
at
of course,
something,
yeah,
right? Who
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
like doing something they're good at. So I started doing it.
And this was while you were doing college.
When I was doing college, yeah.
okay.
And the gym would be. So my college was in Marine Lines, and the gym was in Kandivali, is about an hour and a half away by train, not by car, by train. So it's something. Of course, it was impossible for me to do daily, but I was a weekend warrior. I call them weekend warriors. On the weekends, I would go train. I would go in the morning, do the morning session, spend the afternoon, sleep at the gym, eat lunch at the gym, and in the evening I would train and I would come back and then go again the next Sunday. I actually had zero social life when I was
While
in
you were,
college. So I didn't have fun. I didn't enjoy it. It was literally just gaming and training. It still is.
I think so.
Yeah, it still is. Yeah, that's how martial arts, MMA started becoming bigger in my life. And one of the beauties I realized about training is the people you meet, man. Like the camaraderie, like the people I train with. We are punching each other, we're hitting each other, we're hurting each other. But man, the moment that stops, we get to know each other so well. Like it's something poetic, and I guess it's only someone who's done it and in that moment will realize you get to know people. Your character shows.
I mean, that I think I can just add to that a little bit in the sense like I've not been in it, but I've witnessed. I think I've seen glimpses of it, like how that you were saying the brotherhood of like a gym, a certain gym, a team, or it's definitely there. So this was in the early 2010s.
Yeah, early 2010s.
And you said you left college because you decided you wanted to go full time into MMA. What was your thought process? What was your vision that time when it came to MMA? Like, was it a fighter or you wanted to?
Okay, as an athlete.
As an athlete first, right?
Yeah. And today I can say that was immature decision ever. Like, it was just I want to do this. I'm doing it.
Okay.
Right? And of course, when I dropped out, my parents didn't know. I just dropped out. I just dropped out of college. I stopped going to college. And somehow it came about that my parents got called to college, of course. So then it turned out that I wasn't going. They were not very happy.
Of course. Yeah.
But I'm also pretty stubborn that way. I knew what I wanted to do and I wanted to do it. I stayed. They kept trying to come back. I said no, I'll stay there. I stayed there. I stayed in Bombay. Then they stopped sending me money in Bombay, wanting me to come back. I stayed at the gym.
Okay.
So I would live at the gym. Then Sushovan, a friend of ours, his house was right next to the gym. So he took me in. So I would be his roommate.
This is like movie stuff, yeah.
It was
But
fun,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
And I was young, and I could do all this. I could sleep.
Yeah. Live off
anywhere.
noodles and
I can
whatnot.
live off
Yeah,
anywhere,
yeah.
So that happened for a while, not for very long. Because my parents also, they love me a little too much. So so they accepted it, and then today they're backing me 100%. I'm very grateful.
That's great. You know, this is something that I think a few of us were lucky to have this, but the new generation of parents are very supportive of their kids, and no matter how different it may sound to them, they're very supportive, and we need more of that in our society. I think encouraging people to go after their dreams, even though that's not the norm, or that's not something that would look good for in social gatherings, saying my son is doing this or that. That's nice. So what was the mistake with rushing into as an athlete, you're saying? What happened with that part of your career as a...
So I was competing. I was
in Bombay only?
In Bombay. Abroad also, I started competing abroad. So
okay.
I have
like
fought
where
abroad.
Did you...
I fought in Singapore, Malaysia, and Bahrain also.
Oh, interesting. So these were like what type of circuits, or like what was the tournaments like?
Amateur tournaments, amateur competition.
Okay.
Right. So not big. They were local promotions. The one in Bahrain was not a local promotion. In fact, the one in Bahrain was done by the Sheikh of Bahrain. So he's a super avid MMA fan. He started this company called Brave. So before Brave started, he did a tester, right? So that was the
event. That was the tester for the okay.
So we went and we fought in the Royal Palace grounds in the Royal Stables. Man, but that was an epic trip. Like
I'm sure
the life they live.
Yeah,
I saw a glimpse of it that time. It's next level.
And then what happened eventually then with you as a...
So what happened?
Career as a...
Combat Academy happened basically, right? So I hurt my...
Yeah, you had an injury. That...
I hurt my foot. I broken my foot when I was in Bombay, and then I came back home to Nagaland for a while.
Okay.
So it was while in Nagaland that, just to kill time, I started playing football. Of course, once my foot started getting better, towards the end I started playing football. And playing football, all the locality guys, I start like showing them what I do a little bit, and they start showing me like Angami wrestling, Naga wrestling, and we were just playing around. And what I noticed is they were so athletic, and they were picking things up like this,
very
like,
fast,
without thinking. So of course I went back to Bombay, and it kept eating my mind that I want to do something in Nagaland. Like these guys are so talented, and they are enjoying, they're having fun. Man, why not try to make a livelihood out of them? Livelihood for them, not out of them. Livelihood for them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I came back to Nagaland, the Combat Academy came up, and first 3 years, I was still competing, I was still training, I was coaching, and I was competing.
Okay, you're doing both.
I was doing both.
Okay, which was the year that TCA, the Combat Academy got?
13, 14.
13, 14. Yeah, okay.
So actually 2-3 years later, I had a motor accident. I had a pretty serious motor accident. So I had a hemorrhage. So of course I've been advised not to take anything on my head.
That was an auto decision, like
I had to.
Yeah.
Two ways about it. Yeah. So then that's when I stopped competing, and I'm coaching, and I'm loving it. It's lazy. I can tell people do 100 push-ups without having to do it.
Yeah. So now that we're getting into the main thing, which is the Combat Academy and your career in this field, I want to because there are different aspects of it that I want to talk to you about. So I just want to start with Combat Academy just started. Can you just tell us what were the goals of Combat Academy? Because obviously it's a gym where you train people in mixed and MMA, right? But so, were you from the beginning? Were you thinking about you're gonna start training them to become fighters to compete, and how
So it started off with that concept where I want to build a crazy fight team. I want to build guys who will fight everywhere, right? So what I've learned over the years regarding that is that I would scare a lot of people off. So a lot of potential members never joined the gym because they were a little worried that we were training a little too hardcore.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I had to now it's just now that I've had to tone that down. I've started bringing it down for your weekend warriors, right? Your
regular people that are not
your hobbyists.
Your
hobbyists.
Right.
Of course, the intensity will have to be much lower for them. So that happened, and then one of the things which I feel really bad about is when we started off, they were a crazy bunch of guys, like super athletic, very nice, very sweet. But of course, the gym wasn't doing financially very well because we had barely any members. So a bunch of them were getting disheartened. Not them, but like their family was getting disheartened that they are not being able to. They're not bringing in any money. So a lot of guys stopped. A lot of very talented, very nice people, they stopped training because of that. And today, I'm so happy that we've remodeled our structure. We're becoming more client based. We're becoming more member specific and building workouts for clients, not for athletes, right? So hence we're being able to build future fighters, but also have them make money.
Be economically sound.
Put food on the table.
So we did talk about this a little bit, and I found it interesting. So I want you to just like sort of explain in detail about like how that system works with your fighters and your trainers and your people.
So there are about 9-10 of us who are training to compete professionally, but are also instructing, helping us coach. So we have at the gym a group class. A group session is a fixed 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. That's where majority of the people are kids, students. They're coming in, they're training. We also have a personal clientele. That's we're going one-on-one.
Yes.
So we either do it at the gym or we do it in their houses. We also go online.
Okay.
So the way the packages are built for the online is the gym makes 30% of it, of whatever the instructor instructor's making. We charge from 6 to 15 per month, depending from 6,000 to 15, depending on the seniority of the instructor. And of course how often someone wants to train, whether they want to do on 3 days a week or 5 days a week.
Okay. I think I want to know about, like how you told me about like the team that you have, which is you were telling me the story about how in order for a new guy to join the team, it's like you have to have a sit down with your boys. And like,
so the boys have to sit down and all of us have to say yes. Right? If one person says no, then of course we don't, he's not accepted in the team. Being accepted in the team also means that he becomes a sponsor athlete. The gym pays for everyking.
Training, everything.
Yeah. And also as much as it can help travel, we compete outside. The gym handles that. Because what I've realized over the years is, of course, when I first started off, skill was my paramount. Like, oh, this guy is skilled. This guy is so skilled. But someone might be skilled, but the moment they bring in bad vibes, your entire room is going to change. The way the entire room changes.
I 100% believe in that. That it's that important. And that's also like our running theme of the show. It's all about like positive vibes, bring positive energy.
You gotta love what you do, but also as importantly as that, you gotta love the people you do it.
And do it with a good heart, So these people in your team are strictly people who are like competing, like fighters who are competing also, right? The ones who are training also. They're like competitively, like they're that's their career. Okay. Many of people wouldn't know about your involvement with Yoddha. So I want, because that was on a national level, right?
So Yoda FC was a fight promotion that a few friends of mine from Bombay and me started. It's something I've always been kept very low. I was one of the founders and owners.
Right.
It's just something that I never put it out on a megaphone. So that happened because we wanted to build up. So all four of us that started Yoda FC, all of us had gyms with our own amateur fighters, and we were thinking there's no platform for these people to compete.
Right.
So we wanted to build a platform, and Yoda FC happened. We all came together and we started Yoda FC. We did, I would say, amazing shows in Nagaland. I think there were some crazy ass shows in Nagaland. It also showed that it's possible as a promotion to host. So when you do MMA in India has relatively failed. When they do a show, they don't sell tickets. They have to give tickets for free for the place to get free. Right? Nagaland was the only place that I also personally saw that tickets sold out. We had no more tickets sale. So why that's so important is it all comes down, how does the promotion make money? How does the company make money? It's by selling tickets. Right? It's only if the company makes money, then the company can pay the fighters to pay. So having those successful shows in Nagaland showed me that there is a structure, there is a business scale that's profitable, not just for the company, but for the fighters. Because the only way a company can pay the fighters is if they make money, and the only way they can make money is by selling tickets.
True.
So that made it became very clear for me that it's possible in Nagaland. One of the problems that happened with Yoda FC is that it wasn't successful in other. We had shows in Bangalore, Bombay, Bhubaneswar, other cities, Delhi. It was not successful. So whatever success was happening in Nagaland, of course, as my responsibility as partner to help the other so it was money was being pumped back for the other cities. Eventually it didn't do so well, of course, because you're doing one show in Nagaland versus 4 shows outside. Right? I stepped away from that. I didn't. Also, what I felt initially was that I always felt for something to succeed, we need to connect to the metropolitans. That was my concept I had back then.
I mean, that makes sense though. I mean, like for someone to think that, you'd understand why they think like that.
So I need to be connected to the metropolitans.
The big cities.
Today I'm changing. Today I'm feeling I think do such a fabulous thing over here. You're forcing heads to turn this side. Right? It's the Northeast India is becoming a saturated market. Right? The only avenue that's coming in for MNCs is going to be the Northeast. Of course, we have our own set of problems in the Northeast, but when that gets sorted out, we need to be in a position where we can capitalize when MNCs come in, right? When sponsorships start coming in, they're going to look for companies that will put their name out.
Right.
So today I'm beginning to be more comfortable that we do a show that's so epic. Eventually, we're going to force heads to turn here. We don't need to have a branch in
Delhi.
We don't need to have a branch in Delhi.
I related on this topic is with the music industry also, and like how you put it perfectly is that the heads are turning this way because we know the market is there for music and sports to a large extent in the Northeast, and we've seen that with the success of the NH7 weekend there, where they are coming and they're making money off the entire Northeast. We're getting good entertainment, no doubt about that. But I think the trend is changing. People like you in your own field, in your lane of MMA, and other people also in other sports, whether it's sports or music, I think there are people who are starting to do it, and they should be doing it more on a larger scale. Like you were saying, make them come here, make sponsors reach out to us instead of us always, like reaching out to people, begging them for sponsors or whatever it may be. So Northeast is a big market.
It's huge, and now that you brought up sponsors, I was just thinking, I met Isuzu, the sponsor, for the Northeast. He had come down from Calcutta or one of the metros, and I talking to him, and I was explaining to him like, okay, you give so much money, your branding will go over here, your branding go over here. And he really opened my eyes to a thought, like you're following the box, you're inside the box. If you want to see that, you give me money, I'll put your name here, I'll put your name here, I'll do that. Everyone does that, right? And honestly, as Isuzu, I'm not gonna rack my head. I'm not gonna think tank for you. You need to come with a proper plan,
pitch, and
then let me. So that taught me something new, that you need to think outside the box. Even so, it's not the sponsors will come looking for us, right? We need to make them interested with the Northeast,
right.
And when they're interested, we need to pitch to them when they are already interested.
We'll be following on this. We'll keep on this topic, but before we go there, I want you to talk to us about the X1, because that is yours, completely yours.
No, again,
that is
same mistake.
Okay, but this is Nagaland based people, right?
Same mistake.
No, X1 is
also outside people.
Okay,
so it is the same.
So what's the situation?
X1 is also more of the same.
Okay.
So with both companies, a lot of mistakes we made. A lot of lessons we also learned.
Okay.
And I'm slightly older, little bit wiser, and of course the future is that I want to build something completely home based, completely based out of Nagaland,
and complete ownership.
Yeah, slowly move to the northeast.
So as of now, you're out of X1 too. That is done.
That's done.
Close book.
Okay.
X1. I think the last event you had was in Dimapur, right? The stadium.
No, we had one in Kohima also. After that
also you had one.
We actually had it during Hornbill.
I remember doing the with the wrestling. You guys tied up. Yes. But the one I attended the event in Dimapur, the stadium, the one that you had in the stadium. That was one wild show. Packed, how full? I'm talking about like
it's wild.
Yeah, we got like good tickets, but it was like, I mean, the atmosphere was. I think I've experienced that for the first time because I've never been to any sort of fight event, before. That was wild. That was an it definitely it was visible that the potential is there, the market is there, like you said. And when I saw that, and then I remember us guys following that, we talked a little bit here and there, and you were talking about trying to like get something like a music thing. Remember we discussed a little bit, and I was also trying to figure out ways how we could like help each other and use each other's platform to create some never seen before type of events. And I'll definitely pitch you that later, but there's no point right now with the whole pandemic anyway. So can you share a little bit about like what you are planning with the new upcoming name in place?
Nothing yet. It's also irresponsible to start something like that at that scale at the moment.
Yeah, of course.
But the concept is there. It's in place. We'll work at the rough edges. It's electric, like you said. The atmosphere
definitely
is wide. So one of the best things doing shows, which I've learned, is if you will remember correctly, and of course the videos of it will be popped up as we talk. I make it the next level to make the cage, to make the stage as world class as possible, right? Because what happens, a lot of people will be worried. It was my worry too, having these events in Nagaland. They're fighting, adrenaline bumping, fights will happen. Like, there's going to be misbehavior. What I've also realized is that when you put an effort to make the place spanking, to make it look epic, people get a little intimidated. Right? You don't want to misbehave. Like you think of you go to a 5-star hotel.
I understand. I got it.
Superb reception. You don't want to misbehave, right? So that's another thing. Like events, it needs to look spanking. The moment it looks spanking, your crowd will automatically behave themselves. They'll automatically respect and feel intimidated to misbehave.
And that was evident. I mean, like it was loud and like just a ruckus, but like everyone was like, all that attention was on the fight. Center. It was not like other unnecessary stuff, right? That was a unique experience.
Funny story with that. So we had informed the police that the show was happening. We got very delayed. The event started very late. One of the reasons behind that was the crowd that came. We were worried to start without having security. And of course, the police had said they would send. So they had initially sent like one bike. So they sent a bike. They came, and the guy turned around and he didn't enter. He just turned around, immediately went back, and he had to get of course stealthy, and then they got an entire bus of policemen. So that was very cool of them, very sweet of them to do that. But they also and hence we got delayed because of that. But that's what I mean. Like the cops would say, the amount of crowd that was there.
And that just shows that it's not their fault, but they were ignorant about how big. They must have thought it was just a small thing where like one guy can just roam around and like keep the crowd down. So getting into like the market of this, whether it's with music, like the field that I'm in also, or whether it's with your field with MMA, and like we were just discussing earlier about Weekender, or the new event that you're planning to start up with, and like you said, based in Nagaland but slowly branch out to the northeast. I want to relate that to something that I want to talk about, which is gaming, that is like a passion for you, right? You are you told me that besides MMA and your career, you love gaming, you spend a lot of time on it. What is your opinion on like because nowadays we see so many tons of Nagas, young people, most of them not playing taking it in a professional manner, but like just time pass and just gaming for fun. So what do you think of the potential that it has, like esports in Nagaland and maybe India in general also, and just like your thoughts on that, like
in India and Nagaland.
Let's go Nagaland.
Nagaland and also India. We'll bunch up together. Esports gaming it's targeting the youth, the young adults. India and Nagaland, their percentage for young adults is huge. The population wise, the percentage. So it only makes sense that gaming is going to be big in India. Let's call it India.
Gaming
is going to be huge. Because of course we have a lot of youngsters. The problem that happens when people who want to pursue gaming professionally, of course it's untapped market, but potential is there.
Like definitely it's huge. Yeah.
The problem that happens again is which I've also noticed with MMA. I'm sure you've noticed with music also. When you're trying to convert a hobby into a job, a lot of people don't understand the difference. Right? A hobby, for instance, say I play the guitar. It's a hobby for me. It's fun. I only play the guitar when I want to. Right? But the moment it becomes a job, you need to play it whether you want to or you don't. And a lot of people don't get that connection. A lot of people think it's a hobby. I want to do this. But the moment it converts into a job, it becomes tiresome. You need to have the discipline to be able to do it even if you don't want to.
Definitely agree.
And with
that.
Gaming, that's going to be even bigger. Right? Because also, like I during college, I used to game a lot. I also dabbled. My friends and me also dabbled into professional gaming. So we started playing Yoddha professionally. We made a team. What it showed is that you need to spend hours practicing. Right or wrong, your team needs to play 3-4 hours a day. Right. The moment it became a job, it became tiresome to play. Right. So
it's no longer fun.
No longer fun. Right. But those are responsibilities of growing up. You have to adopt.
Yeah, I agree with you on that regarding how you have to take it in a professional manner. And if you are going to try and turn this into a career, a lot of people, like they fight back on this. Like when people talk about like the gaming, kids are wasting their time gaming and all.
So
they do have a strong
majority of them are.
Yeah, because majority of them
are.
Exactly. But you can't be so sensitive and say no. But there's a scope for esports. Of course there is, but then like you have to do something about it. You can't just because the scope is there doesn't mean like you can sit around at home just casually playing. And
so I read up this psychological paper on gaming and why it's mostly men that game, not really necessarily women game so much. There's a sense of accomplishment. Say if I win a game, I feel accomplished. I feel I've done something, right? But it's not real. That sense of accomplishment is not real. You have done nothing but win a virtual game. How is that going to bring into your real life, right? There are very few people in this world. Dota esports, it's the biggest. The winners of this tournament called the International, they are earning in millions.
Right?
Millions.
That is
But they're just 5 people out of a multitude of gamers
millions of
that are making millions, right? So that's a sense of accomplishment. People need to realize it's a virtual, it's not real. So I also game. I also feel very good when I win a game, right? But I know it's a game. I have not achieved something great in life. So I've come across a lot of young adults, especially guys, who feel they're the shit because they're winning games, right? That's not real life. It's a virtual world. It's not your day-to-day thing.
But yeah, there is definitely a space that I'm interested in, not like to get into it like business wise or anything, but just to see how that develops. Because like we said, there is the potential is huge, and there are a lot of young Naga gamers that I just check out sometimes, like on YouTube or Facebook, whatever. They're doing pretty well in tournaments also.
They're doing very well, and also in today's era, it's not really, you don't need to win to you don't need to win a tournament to like really make money. You have your Twitch, your YouTube stream, your streaming services, your Instagram. You don't need to win. You just need to be a character. So on that note,
be unique also. You have to be good, obviously, but
be unique. So there's a Dr. Disrespect. He's a Twitch character.
Okay.
Right. So normally he's a cool chap, he's a nice person, but then when he's gaming, he puts on this persona, and people watch him because of that, and he disrespects everyone, he's abusing everyone. Talk to disrespect. So you need to be able to build a persona if you're going to go into that streamer concept.
Right. Who's that guy, that CoD player, or was it the guy who talks like he's in the military?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Nah?
So exactly, I know who you're talking
that character
Warzone,
he puts on.
CoD Warzone he plays.
Yeah,
exactly. So these are guys who have, good or bad, they're not good enough to win tournaments. But they are characters.
But they have created their brand. That's their niche.
Brand.
Exactly. Regarding your hobbies and other passions, besides, you've made it clear that gaming is a big one, and your career. What's like a regular day for Meme, or what do you enjoy doing when you have free time?
I read.
Reading?
I'm a voracious reader. I read a lot. Yeah.
What's your what do you prefer reading like?
My genre is fantasy, science fiction. Right?
Okay.
I don't want to read normal stuff. Like if I'm going to build a fantasy world for myself, I'd rather it be epic. Swords, knives, orcs, elves, magic. I like stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. And what about music? How much of a role does that play in your...
Music has always been very complementary to what I'm doing. For instance, I can't sit and only listen to music.
Right.
But I will listen to music and do something else. So music has always been complementary to me. It's not.
So it's not the focal. Yeah. But just on that note, like I just want to know from the Naga artists that we have, who are some of the ones that you like listening to?
Biggie.
Big Dean.
Yeah. Like I think he's it's not just his music. He's built that persona.
That's important. Like we were talking about the characters and the ones playing the games also,
and especially hip hop. You need to have the persona.
Now we're like get into a little maybe like serious kind of discussion, but that day we had just a small chit chat about like religion also, and I found that your perspective interesting because I sort of also share that same line of thought. And just talk to us about how like that came to be, like your perspective on religion and how you look at it, like
I'm not your most devout Christian. I don't follow the Bible text to text, but my concept of religion has always been my conscience is God. I need to answer to my conscience. The moment my conscience says I'm doing something wrong, that's God telling me I'm doing something wrong. Right? It's very important to go to bed and wake up a nice person, clear conscience.
Yeah, that's very important. One thing you also mentioned was like about how we just need to be good people first, right? Setting aside our differences in beliefs and all that, whether you're Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Jew, whatever it may be. In the context, like in relation to Nagaland, and a lot of people do complain about how sort of archaic our Christianity is. How do you feel about that? Like,
give you my example, my experience with this. So, I grew up also with Jesuits, Roman Catholic. Church for me was always very institutional. It was very, very formal. Right?
Yeah. The routines.
It was very routine, right? Roman Catholic Church is very routine. Whereas I would come back home to. I still remember as a young, as a baby, going to church in Nagaland, I got scared because they're loud, right? They pray loudly, they sing loudly. I remember as a kid, that scared me. Right?
Okay.
But it's just the way religion is over here, right? And also that's because of the missionaries that came to Nagaland.
We were talking about this. That
so if
day,
you were to break down the religion in Nagaland with logic, right? The missionaries came down Nagaland and they professed faith very strongly, right? For them, faith was about strength, loud, right? Because they were selling something new. Selling is the wrong word, sorry.
But I get what you mean.
Professing something new to convert, to get convertees. And to convert people, you need to be strong. You need to be emotionally driven. Why would someone... you can't convert
just
someone...
drop their beliefs and suddenly...
You can't convert someone with textbooks. You need to convert them with emotions, right? So the missionaries came to Nagaland, they professed faith strongly. And that's also why today the faith in Nagaland is
still
strong.
like and
Strong.
and
Very,
connected to that.
Yes,
yeah,
very conversion oriented.
Okay.
Ways to convert people
Yeah,
strongly.
yeah.
And still, and that's why it's more demanding. It's more ABC. You have to like this. You have to do that.
Yeah, that I totally agree on. It's like a simple example I'll give you is like with playing on a Sunday. That is still looked down upon. And like how you said, the literally the people who brought Christianity to us are fine with that. Like, not to say that they are the best role models or anything like that, but they have moved on when it comes to so many things like prohibition.
Yeah,
they've come to the agreement that it's not going to work. It's better we whatever. So yeah, I think that we're still stuck on the like old sort of beliefs. That does hamper a lot in the way people feel about the scenario of like
it is. And
Christianity
again,
in our
if you
state.
were to logically think of it like that, like conversion happened back then also because people telling you this is wrong, this is right.
Right.
There's no other reason someone will change because I've put into your head that is wrong. And also that's why the religion here it's very judging. They judge a lot because it's been taught like that. Like this is right and that is wrong. This is right.
No
this
gray
is
area,
wrong.
just
No
the
gray
black and
area,
white. Yeah. I think about it a lot, but it is sort of like a touchy issue.
It is, but like as long as you don't, I honestly feel you can do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt other people's sentiments. Right? We can have whatever conversation two of us are having, very open dialogue without hurting each other's.
Yeah. And this is something that I try to remind the audience also, like very often, that there's sometimes when we're going to talk about a certain issue or a topic that they might have a strong opinion on, which we are disagreeing to. And then, they can get offended and also just like to keep an open mind and just like respect each other's opinion. Yeah. You could learn something new also.
And just because I am right, just because I think one and you think two does not make me right and does not make you wrong.
Yeah.
It's just different opinions.
Yeah.
That's it. Simple as that.
Exactly. I think we have to stop being a little too sensitive.
Yeah.
The world generally, don't you think, is becoming way too sensitive? What's your take on that? Like for me, I see this on social media, the whole cancel culture thing. Like suddenly the celebrities say something wrong about a certain community or some issue, and they all like they want that guy's head, like for him to be cancelled. No more shows, no more movies. Or I find that like it's like just the world becoming too sensitive on like you can't even freely express yourself anymore.
With social media, we live in a world that loud is better. The louder I am, the better I am.
Yeah.
It's social media. It's not the world per se. It's social media.
Right.
You're a lot of influencers, right? Whose only job is to look pretty, right? Their only job is to look pretty, and then they think they would think the celebrities. Well, in a way, they are followed by
they are.
influencers, and hence the word. I really like the word that's been coined for them, influencers.
Yeah, but just on that topic. You were saying like it's just social media, but isn't like social media literally ruling the world right now?
It is.
Like even though you try and like I think you are one of those who are not too into social media.
I'm not, but I understand the importance of it.
Yeah. So for me, I enjoy it. Like I try to do it in moderation, but I do enjoy it. But work related, I have to be always on there promoting stuff and that. But for those people who like say like nah, I'm not on this and that, you're missing out on not something good or anything, but it's that crucial.
In today's day and age, like printed media is also not. You know the news by just following social media. You don't need to like watch the TV channel news. You'll get it in a gist, and that's why social media is doing so well. It's in a gist. It's much faster. Right. I don't need to watch 30-minute news channel. I'll get whatever I want immediately. Right. Social media is that. It's putting things, capping things together and selling it out as fast as possible. And social media is big. I feel it's only gonna get bigger. Like,
definitely.
People are now realizing markets like. It'll change the moment Instagram becomes a market, and it's already happened.
It's already happened.
You're trying people to buy products
exactly
via Instagram. That's going to happen. It's going to become big, even bigger.
So regarding sponsorships, because we all know of the difficulties we have in getting sponsorships for events, music events, sports events, whatever it may be. What's your whole take on that?
Now events with music or martial arts are more young adults. Young adults are the target audience. Good or bad, young adults, the alcohol companies know that is also their target audience, right? And that is why they come and sponsor music events. Weekender, Smirnoff, if I'm not mistaken, right? Completely sponsored by
100%.
Because they know the target audiences are the same, right? So the Northeast, Nagaland loses out so much because of this, right? So like with Yoda FC, we tied up with Foster's once, and then
you told me that.
they were not giving cash, but they said we'll give you ABC amount of cans. You sell it, whatever money you make is yours. Then I was like, I got it, okay, fine. So I did it. Then of course they did the research and they come back, Nagaland's a dry state, I'm sorry, we can't do that. I was like, no, please send it, no?
I'll make it work.
But of course, that's the problem. In their books they can't, and these are MNC multinational.
They can't just
do it. So on their books they need to show. So I feel Nagaland loses out so much, because also when you look at taking Weekender as an example, it's money coming in to Meghalaya from outside. Weekenders coming in, sponsoring Weekend NS7. They are pumping into the economy from outside, right? So if we have an event, honestly, in Nagaland where the government sponsors or we have local sponsors, it's local money circulating,
right?
It's not money from outside. Right. So when you have sponsors coming in from outside for events like this, Hornbill, for instance, like imagine if Hornbill had a
like a mega sponsor.
It's money coming in from outside the state. It's enriching your economy, your state's economy.
True.
Is necessary.
And along that line, like alcohol, just last episode we had this discussion on alcohol and the prohibition and the never-ending saga with like for me I find it very frustrating. Like I talked about this a lot, I gave all my opinions, and the guest Dr. Michael, he also shared his opinion. We were both on the same page. I think a majority of people feel the same way. What's your I know your take, but like just expand on it a little bit. Like
it needs to
this doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And to be honest, if it is legalized, if you have an alcohol shop right next to you, whether there's prohibition, there's no prohibition, an alcoholic is still going to drink. You're not doing any favors over there. The only thing that's making it worse is spurious liquor. People are drinking spurious liquor and their health is getting destroyed because of that.
I said the same thing, exactly. And we all know about the hypocrisy also of like how readily available.
It's
throughout, like the entire state, anywhere you can get alcohol.
It's not a question of morality. It's a question of finances.
Exactly.
It's no longer a question of morality.
Yeah. So, what do you think the approach is to sort of get that act lifted? Which angle do you think should be? Because I'm going to talk about this a lot with a lot of guests, and I'm guessing that most of them would agree with me, and some might not. But like, to those who agree on that the act is like archaic and it shouldn't exist, I sort of want to just get like what's that word called? Just for them to brainstorm quickly and just think of like some approach, because we know obviously the government will have to do it. It'll have to come from their end, lifting the act. But we know that obviously the church is in favor of keeping the act intact, and like you said, the finances, which is the syndicates or whatever they are, that are vested interest, that they want that act to be in place. So how do you go about this? Like,
it has to be economically driven. The explanation has to be economical. As for instance, the moment your prohibition is lifted, the moment you're selling alcohol in the state, you're taxing, you're adding taxes, right? The state is making money, right? And yes, it's so important for the state to have financial income. Your people will only do better the moment your state makes money. I was watching one of your podcasts, Joel talking about clean elections.
Right.
Yeah. It comes down to economy. It comes down to making life like your citizens having money to spend.
Purchasing power.
Purchasing power,
yeah.
Right? And it'll only happen with the state doing well.
Exactly.
Certain things like that. Yes, clean action it's idealistic. It's morally, it's very good. But one of the reasons why I feel it doesn't work is because your people can be bought. Right? They can be bought because they have no livelihood. Right?
A majority of the
people don't have the livelihood because your state is not being able to, is not rich enough
provide
to
opportunities.
And prohibition being lifted, starting getting taxes in a small way, it's going to stem the flood. In a very small way, it'll only
in a
help.
big way, because you know what, I mentioned this in the last episode, and now for the next episode I'm gonna get my research done properly. But I remember I just went through numbers a long time back when I was just like ranting about this on Twitter and comparing states' revenues. Of course, the other states are much bigger than us in size and population, but just like having with Nagaland's 2 million population ratio, like just ratioing that, it was coming anywhere in the region of like maybe like say 500 crores annually. Are like the government's revenue, not the total sales. Also, that's a huge amount compared to like what our state budget is. And
it would have been the revenue if prohibition lifted.
If you're right. And so I think I'll dive into that a little bit and like get the exact numbers or try and get a proper estimate. But yeah, that's something that needs to be done away with at the earliest, I feel.
And it will happen. Whatever said and done, also you and me are the next generation, right? Good or bad, Nagaland is ours. It's ours to run, right? And the more people our age coming up, and like a few years back I would not have been comfortable talking about it. Today you and me, a little older, we're comfortable talking about it. It's going to happen to everyone else, and it's going to slowly.
Yeah, but we're missing out on a lot. I mean, let's
have a good time.
Yeah. So, what's the future for Meme? Like, obviously, you've said I'm very interested in that your new event that you're working on, but besides that, like, where do you see yourself in say 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line?
Definitely not fat. I will be working out till I have one foot in the grave. I don't look that far ahead, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me phrase it another way. Do you see yourself with this field, TCA, MMA, for the rest of your life?
Yes.
That's nice. I mean,
I will be involved, I guess.
Yeah, how active that
will
will change a little bit, but yeah. Like I said this in the introduction of when I was introducing you. Yes, I think our society, Nagas, we need a lot, much more of these entrepreneurs like yourself, and people venturing out and creating. Like you doing this is gonna make it so much easier for other people who want to get into this field or similar fields like that, and use you as a case study, and from your failures and successes, make something out of themselves. I think that's a beautiful thing. So we wrap up the episode by ending on a small segment. I think you've seen this if you've watched the episode, but it's called The Message. So I asked you to give me, not me, but I asked you to give 3 messages. The first message is to family. You can be just general message. You can name mom or this and that. Second is to friends or people that you've lost touch with along the way, life's journey. And the third message is to Nagas in general. If you had the 2 million Nagas listening to you right now, what would your message be? So you can take your time. We'll wrap up on that note. So
to friends, I'm still that idiot who used to play football and video games all the time. Nothing much has changed. At heart, I'm still the same person. To family, I am always so grateful that they have stood by me no matter what, through all my idiocies and nonsense decisions I've made over the years. To everyone listening, stick to your word. Respect yourself so much that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. Whether that means waking up 6 a.m. because you have work, even if other people don't think it's work, just do it. The moment you start respecting something so strongly, people around you, your family and friends will start respecting the same. Beautiful message.
Thank you so much for coming on. I had a great time having this conversation. I hope we do this in the future also. Right? Well, that's a wrap.
Thank you.